State Farm. You know the name, you definitely know the jingle. But when it comes to actually protecting all the stuff in your apartment, are they really the good neighbor they say they are? Well, in this explainer, we are going to dig in and find out if their renter's insurance is the right financial shield for you.
Okay, let's just jump right into the deep end here. Let's imagine the worst-case scenario, because that's really what insurance is for. Picture it. A fire rips through your building. Your laptop, your couch, your clothes, everything. Gone. It's a horrible thought, right? Well, that devastating possibility is exactly what renter's insurance is designed to protect you from.
So before we can really judge if State Farm is a good fit, we need to make sure we're all on the same page. What is renter's insurance actually? What are you paying for every single month?
At its heart, what State Farm offers is something called an HO4 policy. Now, that's just the boring industry name for renter's insurance. The key thing to understand is that it's not for the building itself. That's your landlord's responsibility. This policy is for you and for your life inside those four walls. And it's also really important to know that a standard policy like this typically won't cover damage from floods or earthquakes. You'd need a separate policy for that.
A good policy really does two main things. First, you've got property coverage. That's the part that replaces your stuff, your furniture, your electronics, if it's stolen or destroyed. But the second part, liability coverage, is so important. This is what protects you financially if someone gets hurt in your apartment and decides to sue, or if you accidentally cause damage that affects your neighbors.
Okay, so that's the policy. But what about the company behind it? You know, with insurance, you're not just buying a document, you're kind of buying into a brand and its promises. So let's take a look at State Farm's.
I mean, come on, you've definitely heard this before. This slogan has been their cornerstone since 1971, and it's all about communicating one simple idea: reliability. They want you to think of them as that dependable person next door who's going to show up and help when you need it most. And this whole brand identity, from that famous jingle to their simple red logo, it's all built around this long-standing image of trust and stability. The fact that they've been around since 1922 is meant to send a message: we've seen it all and we'll be there for you when it counts.
All right, so branding is one thing, but let's get down to the brass tacks. What are the real, tangible benefits that make State Farm a major player in this space? What's the actual promise they're making when you sign on the dotted line?
19,000. That is a huge number, and it points directly to what might be State Farm's single greatest advantage: a massive network of local agents spread all across the country.
Having that agent network is a huge plus for anyone who wants a real person to talk to. But for many people, the real game changer is the bundle discount. If you pair your renter's insurance with a car policy, the savings can be massive. Plus, they've got a top-tier A++ financial rating, which is basically industry speak for, don't worry, we've got the money to pay your claim.
And just in case you were wondering, especially if you live in a big market like California where insurance can get a little tricky, the answer is yes. State Farm offers renter's policies nationwide in all 50 states and Washington, D.C., so getting access to them isn't an issue.
This brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most critical part of this whole thing. How does State Farm actually perform when you need them? This is the moment of truth, where all those promises and commercials get put to the test.
So the claims process itself is pretty standard. It follows these three basic steps. You file your claim, an adjuster takes a look at everything, and then you get a settlement. And honestly, this is where having that local agent can be a real lifesaver. They can help you navigate the process and basically be your advocate.
But how long does it take to get paid? Well, it really depends on what happened. A simple claim, like your laptop getting stolen where you have a police report, that could be settled in just a few days. But something complex, like a major fire or a liability issue, that's going to take a lot longer. We're talking several weeks because there's just more to investigate.
So this is it, right? The bottom line question. A nice brand and a friendly agent don't really mean anything if the company doesn't actually pay up when you have a legitimate claim.
And the general consensus is, yeah, they have a strong reputation for paying claims. Because they're a mutual company, they're technically owned by their policyholders, which in theory aligns their interests with yours. For most standard, straightforward claims, they're known to be pretty fair and efficient.
All right, let's talk about the factor that's a huge deal for pretty much everyone: the price. Is State Farm expensive?
Okay, so if you look at their base premium, you might notice it can be a little on the higher side, especially when you compare it to some of the newer, online-only companies. But that is not the whole story.
The absolute key here is the bundle. The second you combine your renter's insurance with an auto policy, that price that seemed a little high can drop, and I mean drop dramatically.
often making them one of the most affordable and competitive options out there.
So after looking at the policy, the brand, the service, the claims experience, and the costs, what's the final takeaway here? Is State Farm the right call?
It really comes down to this. State Farm is an excellent choice for you if you're the kind of person who really values having a local, personal agent you can call. It's a great choice if you can leverage those big multi-policy discounts, and it's a great choice if you just feel more secure going with the biggest, most established insurer in the nation. If that sounds like you, they offer fantastic value.
So, is a good neighbor the right fit for your financial safety net? Ultimately, it depends on what you value most. Is it the absolute lowest price you can possibly find? Or is it the peace of mind that comes with personal service and undeniable stability? The choice, of course, is yours. But now it's an informed one.